Morning, Fractal Effects team. Please make sure you guys read the disclosure. If you're following along with us today, make sure you do in a demo account, as this is for educational purposes only. We are not financial advisors, and this is not financial advice. We'll jump onto the charts in a minute. We have no news today. No news yesterday either. Bit of a slower week. Still no confirmation across the indices. As soon as we get any kind of an alert, we'll jump on to one of the other assets. But for now, we're just looking at NAS here on the left, US 500 on the right. These are the CFD contracts. We had a slight downside expansion model. We had a bullish confirmation on London. No real retracement before it took off. Quite a bullish run. And again, now we're just waiting for confirmation. For US 500, we're sitting right inside the New York fair value gap. We've already swept all the highs. I'd like to get a bullish confirmation, but let's see how deep this thing retraces. We're back at the 20, so we're getting an early retracement. There was no early entry model today. The market was just too bullish. And we're working on a video right now for the early retracement. So there's an early entry model. We are going to put together one for early retracement model. That should be up in about a week. We're getting some reaction now off that 20 EMA. We just wanted to test our Wi-Fi connection before going live for the New York Open, possibly tomorrow. So I'll be going live at 9:30 tomorrow. Again, just wanted to test. We did contact our internet provider just to make sure that our internet feed was better. I know we were having some buffering issues, but we're getting a better connection now. Doesn't seem to be too many issues here, but again, we will see. So the goal is to go live tomorrow at New York Open, and we'll go over the early entry model. So we're getting some reaction off that 20 EMA. We do have a confirmation on oil now and US 30. Let's switch this one. No, let's switch this one over to US 30 for now. So this is the Dow Jones. So we did have a slight upside expansion model. Then we had a bearish confirmation, late retracement, extension. Now we have a bullish confirmation. I like to see it retrace back down to, well, let's see if this fair value gap sticks. Right now, this is the only fair value gap down here of interest. But our 20 has already moved past it. So let's see if this holds, or if we get a quick retracement down here. Otherwise, maybe this fair value gap will stay open. We are bouncing off the 238. So even though our daily bias is bullish, our 4-hour is red. We're pretty much red across the board, except for the 1 minute, which is also under, I believe, the 238 as well. So again, you got to proceed with caution when you see this. I want to see it tap this 20, and I want to see it stay above the midpoint of this fair value gap, the New York fair value gap, the bigger one. And for NAS, we'd like to see it follow in suit and give us a bullish confirmation. We've already had an early retracement. So if it bounces off this 20, and we get a bullish confirmation, then we'll most likely move fast, and it will either use this fair value gap as an inverse, or it will bounce off the top of the dealing range. We'll see. First, we need that confirmation. Oil did confirm as well. But today is OPEC meetings all day long, which could affect oil. Crude oil inventories and OPEC meetings. Those are the main ones that affect oil. So maybe we'll avoid that today. We're getting a bounce off of that, off the 20 EMA. I'd like to see it go up from here and follow in suit. "32 seconds left. I want to see if this fair value gap stays open. Again, with US 30, our goal is to literally stay above. So these fair value gaps, the main fair value gaps, the session fair value gaps, they have their own midpoint. Just got to zoom in and take a look at it. It's right there, that red one. You can actually highlight it yourself just to make it brighter. Our goal is to stay above all of this and get rejection from here or off the 20. Then we'll look for a foothold to go to 1 standard deviation, which I believe will take out close to London highs. Our goal is just to get the 1 to 3. So we'll see where we enter, and then we might not even have to get all the way up to 1 standard deviation. Since NAS is stalled there, we'll take a peek at oil just to see what it looks like right now. Green on the lower time frames. Let's get rid of some of this stuff. We have a trumpet model. Took out Asia lows. Definitely a buy model here. I'd avoid oil today just because of OPEC meetings, but for anybody trading it, obviously this is our fair value gap of interest. I like to see it hit the 20 EMA, stay above the midpoint of this fair value gap. We're already at 1 standard deviation too. It's a small range. Honestly, isn't worth it. I don't think you'd be able to squeeze out a 1 to 3 here. Let's jump back to NAS. NAS, again, wicking off the 20. We got a minute, 59 seconds left. Still waiting for that bullish confirmation. We're green across the 1, the 5, and the 15. We're also green on the 4 and the daily. We have a buy model. We've already had our retracement here before New York open. If you take a look at the Fibonacci from London low to New York high. Or actually, sorry, even here. This is before New York open. We came in and dipped around 50%, lower than 50%. That was most likely our retracement for the day. So if everything follows in suit and this thing sticks to the plan, we should get that bullish confirmation. But obviously we're waiting for that bullish confirmation. Since we had the early retracement, we'll be moving fast from here if and when we get that bullish confirmation. Again, another good sign. That's another wick off the 20. Just to see what the fib looks like from here. We're close to 61% of the London itself. I mean, sorry, of the New York. We'll keep it there since we've already gone past this point. For the early retracement, for the early entry, unfortunately we just missed it. For anybody who was actually following that entry model, didn't come low enough and it didn't tap our zone, but it was close. Unfortunately, it took off without us, without a deeper retracement. So now we are waiting for our spotlight confirmation here. US 30 continuing up past the 238. Again, if it hits the 1 standard deviation before giving us our retracement, then we'll focus just on NAS or any other asset that confirms. Another rejection. Let's see, we got about 4 minutes left on this candle close. Keep in mind our strategy works on the 5M, but we keep an eye on the 1, the 5, and the 15 for our entry. And then starting tomorrow, we will be going New York live. We'll give it a try and see how that looks to go over the early entry models. That won't be an everyday thing, but we will see how we do on time. Getting a deeper retracement on NAS now, heading towards 61%. Perhaps even the New York fair value gap will bounce off of this. We could bounce off of the 50. Just patiently waiting. US 30 still on a tear, above 238, has not come down yet. This has become now our fair value gap of interest for US 30. It was not tapped by the next candle, but we're right at the top of our dealing range. If our 20 comes into here and there's enough room to 1 standard deviation, then we'll be interested in taking a potential buy there. If you're following along with us today, make sure you're doing a demo account. This is for educational purposes only. Just going over the Fractal Effects strategy. Please make sure you check us out on fractaleffects.com, where we teach high probability trading. All of our trades are 70% or higher probability. Anything lower than that, and you're gambling. This is why we wait for all confluences. NAS is pushing down even further. We're at 61%. New York fair value gap 50. If it drops any lower than this, then our confluence will be most likely off. I want to see it bounce off of this and give us our bullish confirmation. Still got time. Now we're pushing past 61. I want to see what it does here. Let's see if we get a bounce off of the New York fair value gap, the 50 EMA. Everything is bullish. We're not looking for a sell on NAS. You'd be a fool to look for a sell on NAS, even if we get a pullback, even if it drops through. That's why we stick with the bias. Higher time frame, bullish. 5 and 15, still bullish. It's a buy or nothing for us. Not interested in selling this market today. So if it does break through and give us a bearish confirmation, just not interested. Could it? And could it sweep London lows? Yeah. But again, lower probability. At the New York fair value gap now, at the 50. Three minutes left for this candle close. I want to see if US 30 leaves this fair value gap open again. If we hit one standard deviation before we get that retracement, we're not interested. Get rid of this fair value gap. So this is the area of interest. I'd like to see the 20 come in here. And if we tap that, let's see if there's enough room for growth. We're going for 1 to 3. We roll stops to break even after 2R is hit. A little under 3. Just have to see where the entry is. But US 30 slowly coming back down. We're at the 238. It could just continue to bounce off this and go hit one standard deviation. We want to see it push through. Tap the 20 EMA. On NAS, we're getting some reaction off the New York fair value gap, off the 50. 1 minute 33 seconds left for this candle close. To just get another confirmation on GBP NZD. NAS driving even further down. As mentioned before, if we get a bearish confirmation on NAS, not interested. As you see right now, it's just back and forth. Up, down, up. Now if we come back down, that's why we're waiting for a confirmation. We got to get out of this range. If this had dipped again just a little bit lower, we would have got that early entry model. Could have just rolled that to the top. But this is where our rules save us. We were only looking for a buy today. And we were waiting for it to enter our zone for the early entry model. The fact that it didn't hit, we don't miss out on anything. The fact that we haven't got a bullish confirmation yet, we haven't missed out on anything. We're not in a buy. We're definitely not in a sell. And if we confirm bearish, then we're done looking at NAS. Two minutes, 12 seconds left. We might get that bearish confirmation. That's 238. We sweep these lows, get that bearish confirmation. Not interested. This could just gesticulate back and forth. Still green on the 5 and the 15. In order to go counter trend, we'd have to be red across the board here. Not something we're interested in today. US 30 just stuck right there at that fair value gap on the 238. We want to see it drop lower, come into this fair value gap, touch that 20. That's the only way this makes sense. Get your 1 to 3, back up to 1 standard deviation. NAS has now swept those lows. Let's see if it actually closes within the range. Twenty-three seconds left. So we have confirmed. Oh no, sorry. Closed back in, and then we have to wait for this candle close to see if we confirm. Three minutes, 55 seconds left. I could just take off from here. We have 1, 2, 3 candles rejecting off the 238, but we've had no deep retracement. We haven't even had a pull back into this fair value gap, which is at the top of the dealing range. And again, there is not enough room here for growth to 1 standard deviation. NAS just on a tear all the way down. Two minutes, 15 seconds left. NAS has swept all these lows. Let's see if it closes within the range. Still green on the 5 and the 15. This thing could actually close up here and just push up. Just needed to take out that liquidity, but we'll see. We're at 11:03. I'm not sure if there's enough time for this to come up here and give us our bullish confirmation. If we had had a bullish confirmation and we saw a move like this happen, we could have actually jumped in and would have still been interested in taking a buy if all the confluence was there. But that's why the rules save us. $11 seconds left. We'll most likely close in the range here. US 30, still no pullback. Even our EMAs have shifted outside of that fair value gap. We're also already at 1 standard deviation. Just want to take a look at oil. Oil has not come back down. Yeah, oil has not touched our 20 EMA yet, but we are getting reaction off of this fair value gap. It's completely outside the range of our dealing range. When you're this far outside your dealing range, plus you're already at 2 standard deviations, unless you get a tap of that 20 and even a tap of the top of the dealing range, it's just moving too fast. Again, because it's OPEC meeting. Nothing of interest today. Again, no news day today. Slow news week in general. Even the early moves were moving a little too fast. This is the difference between patience and FOMO. If you don't see the setup, you don't see the setup. Instead of just desperately trying to find something, anything. And this saves us. Most people, when they see like a shooting candle like this without this indicator, they'll see a candle like this and immediately jump in. And on a day like this, it did move up, but it could easily just move down. So when they see this, they jump in here all the way down. 1 minute, 17 seconds left. Let's see if this bearish confirmation sticks. This will just be a complete reversal for the day then. NAS on a tear, so we have our bearish confirmation. So we are done looking at NAS today. Crude oil also on a tear, no real pullbacks. US 30. Already hit one standard deviation, now it's starting to do a pullback. We're also red now on the 15 and the 4 hour. Not to mention, I believe this was an upside expansion model originally. Swept the lows, took out all the highs. We are well above now. No real room for growth. Wait and see what happens here if it does do a pullback and comes back up past one standard deviation. That's the only thing that makes sense. NAS now pulling back into the dealing range. US 30, pushing down. Not sure if we'll make it to this fair value gap. Another 15 minutes left. Nothing of interest yet. US 30 now still back at 238. Let's see if it pushes past the 238. Now it's slowly starting to make its way up. Still at the 238. 10 minutes left. Nothing of real interest here. We have a bearish confirmation on NAS. We're still green on the 5 and the 15. This thing could easily just keep pushing up from here. Too late in the game. US 30 already hit one standard deviation. Now we're getting this pullback. We could come back down to the 20, tap this fair value gap, which is heading in the direction of, but already hit one standard deviation. And again, late in the game. It's the only thing worth watching right now, the US 30. Keep an eye on it for the next couple of candles. US 30 still making its way down towards the 20 EMA. 7 minutes left. If we hadn't hit one standard deviation, this would have been interesting actually. Even at 11:23. But we've already taken out London highs. And NAS has already given us a bearish confirmation. Even though the US 30 is not like the US 500 anymore, even though it used to be coupled, it's decoupled now from the other indices. It's still, you can still use the other indices as kind of an example of where everything is going for the day. Still unable to get under that 238, which again is a strong indication that this thing is bullish, but we've already hit the one standard deviation. Juice has already been squeezed, so unless it gets low enough, there's not really any room for growth for us to get that 1 to 3. NAS now bouncing off that 238 on the bottom side of it. About 5 minutes left in our stream. As mentioned again, tomorrow we will most likely go live at 9:30 Eastern Standard, 9:35 possibly, just a little after the NYC Open. So make sure you have your notifications turned on and you're subscribed so you know that we're going to be going live. You'll get an alert on your phone. Still bouncing off the bottom of that 238 for NAS. We do have a crossover now on the 5M, turning red. If this bounces up, touches here, it could most likely follow in suit, but again, just not interested today. Not this late in the game. US 30, again, bouncing off that 238. Didn't really give us our retracement that we were looking for. NAS retraced back to the 238, pushing down. Just went against our higher time frame bias. We didn't have the 15 in red, so we weren't comfortable taking a counter trend trade. That's our time. Please make sure you check us out on fractaleffects.com. Again, please turn on your notifications, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And tomorrow we will be going live at NYC Open, 9:30 Eastern Standard.